Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. Thought I'd take a few minutes to talk about the Rough Rider gunboats. I've only got two of the three. Well, four if you include the one later made, which is known as the Holiday Gunboat or the Christmas Gunboat. We'll talk about that one a little bit. I do not have that one, nor do I have the RR387, which is the black lip mother of pearl. I am looking forward to trying finding that one, but it is pretty scarce. The two I do have, the one I most recently picked up is right here, the RR316, which is the one in just plain white mother of pearl. And then the other one that I've had for a little while is right here. This is the RR387 in brown jig bone. Now, these knives are somewhat popular, but they're also pretty difficult to find. And when you find them, they end up going for somewhere around $40 to $50, somewhere around there. Now, I cannot remember what I paid for this one. I think I paid around $30 for that one a while back. And I thought it was kind of high at the time until I actually found a little listing, a price listing for Rough Rider gunboats. And this one here, when it first came out, went for $34.95. So the one in white mother of pearl as well as the one in black lip mother of pearl, new from the factory, was going for $34.95. And so when you consider that you can usually still get them for around $40 or so, and they really have not gone up in price that much. They might seem that way, but it's not really the case. You also see another knife back here. This is just the Rough Rider RR869 Moonshiner canoe, and the reason I brought this one out is so that I could compare it in size to the gunboats, and then you'll understand why these are called gunboats. Now, I think Case might have came out with the gunboat first. I don't know, but that's the ones I'm more familiar with. I do not own a Case gunboat, but what the gunboat tends to be is an oversized canoe, but it's not your typical canoe, because typically a canoe has two blades, such as what you're seeing here, the main spear blade, and then a secondary pen blade, or a smaller spear blade, whatever way you want to call it. One big pen blade and a small pen blade, or a spear blade and a relatively large pen blade. That's typically the blades you see on a canoe, and your standard canoe tends to be 3 5/8 inches long, with that canoe shape going on. Now, the gunboat is a little different, because actually the typical gunboat will not have the blades of a canoe, but actually has the blades of a stockman knife. And so you have often a large spearmaster blade. Yeah, a lot of old stockmans had a spear blade. And then because of the way these blades run, it actually still feels comfortable in your hand. And then the two other blades that you have with it are a small spay blade and a sheepfoot blade. That's typically the blades you find on a gunboat. I'll go over the quality of the builds on these in just a little bit, but that's really typically what you see on the gunboat versus a canoe. Now, the RR1443 Holiday Gunboat, put out by Rough Rider, the one that has the red and green bone covers with the band in the middle. Typically, as far as I know, it only has two blades. It's lacking the sheepfoot blade. So this blade is missing on that one, and what you have is a small spay blade and the main blade. which is unfortunate. I wish it would have had both blades, and I don't know if that bay blade sets up that high on it or not. But that is one of the things that I noticed when I saw a review of the Holiday Gunboat. It only had 2 blades, so it was kind of set up as a large canoe versus a gunboat, except it had a secondary spay blade, which was kind of strange. But for some reason they left off the sheepfoot blade. Maybe that was for price or not. I don't know. In any case, that's what I did notice about it. But there are at least 3 true gunboats put out by Rough Rider, with the 316 being the white mother of pearl, the black lip mother of pearl being the 387, and again this one being in the brown jig bone, the 752. So this was the last one that was made. It also happened to be the first one that I picked up. Now, quality wise, these knives are pretty rock solid, I gotta tell you. So if you can find them, they're really worth getting. At least if you're going to be getting it for about $40, $45 or so. I would not pay much more than that, even though they are very scarce, and especially these, the mother of pearl ones. I have yet to be able to find the black lip mother of pearl. I'm trying to find it though. As you notice, I think you can see it there, all of the blades have file work on not only the mother of pearl ones, but also on the brown jig bone one. Not only on the blades, but also on the back springs. And you do notice that there's brass liners going on there. And they do have the match strike pull going on. And the early ones will have the always ready blade etch. Getting that to show up is always a problem for me now. Can we get it better? Anyway, there we go, always ready. The later one, the 752, it did not come with a blade etch. However, as you notice, it does have the, if you like it, it's got the horseshoe shield going in there, the round horseshoe shield in the brown jig bone. Notice both of them also have the threaded bolster. They're really funky bolsters on both ends. It is an equal end knife. Both of them are equal end knives. Now, what you have in the middle here, the wide spacer between the 2 pieces of pearl, is usually referred to as a cigar band, actually. It's not referred to as a spacer when it's this wide. At least that's the way I first heard it called when these knives first came out. They were called the cigar band gunboats. And as you can tell here, that band is pretty wide. It's, well, it looks like about 3/8 of an inch wide, so it's more than a 1/4 inch wide. And the knife overall, as you can tell, comes in right at 4 5/8 inches overall. So you've got a very big main blade on here. And you see there, blade comes in at 3 inches. So I guess it's legal to carry. And what, 2 5/8 inches with a cutting edge. So it is an under 3-inch blade. So in theory, I guess this would be legal to carry in Great Britain or in the United Kingdom, whichever way you want to call it. Despite all that file work and everything, this is really smooth going on here. And the pearl is actually attached with glue, as you can imagine. But it is well set in there. We're talking about a knife that is probably about 16, 17 years old, so the glue is holding up pretty well on those. And the blade tension, I'm sure this knife was never used or anything, so it was just a shelf queen. Somebody really bought it and really liked it. I'm not going to be using it either, but the blade is nice and tight. Pull on them is probably in the 6, 7, 8 range, somewhere around there. Nice and tight there too. All the blades, oops, hit the camera. all the blades are nice and tight on here. That one has the ever so faintest wobble. And the same can be said on this knife. Now I will tell you that sometime after picking up this knife, probably after about having it for 7 years or so, the shield fell off of there, but fortunately it fell off in the box, so I just glued it right back on. But the blade is nice and tight. All of the blades. So it doesn't really matter which one I've got here. They're both about the same. There is still the slightest of wobble also in this sheepfoot blade on the brown jig bone one. So that is constant from the white mother of pearl to the brown jig bone. So I suppose that is an issue with the knife, that you will get this knife, and despite it being very strong, you can feel the ever so slightest wiggle in the sheepfoot blade. But I'm telling you, it is extremely minor, even for the price that you're paying on this knife. And as you can tell, the build quality also on the brown jig bone one later is about the same as with the mother of pearl. So both of them were really well-made knives. Another reason why I'm hoping to find the black lip mother of pearl. Now, for those who are interested, these knives were not originally made by Rough Rider. Well, these were, but the pattern pre-existed Rough Rider making them. Two other companies have made almost identical knives, I mean using the exact same frame, using almost identical file work and everything else. One of the companies is United. United also made these knives, same blade choices and everything else, 3-blade gunboats. The United one had a blade edge on there for the Conquistador. So the United gunboats were known as Conquistadors, and the other company that made it is Parker, Jim Parker. He made these, and he might have been the ones who made them originally back in the possibly as early as the 1980s or 1990s, and he referred to these gunboats as the Excalibur, and they also had a blade edge on them for Excalibur. So you might see other versions of these knives, much older ones, and they will demand a higher price than the Rough Rider ones. So once again, basically what Rough Rider did was they brought back a couple old Jim Parker designs and brought them back almost nearly identical to what Jim Parker did, and did a stellar job doing it. So if you're looking for these, even the Rough Rider ones are hard to find, and like I said, go for in the $40 to $60 range, somewhere around there. But you can also find even older ones by United and also by Parker. The United, once again, is Conquistador, and the Parker ones were known as Excalibur. Stick around for a few slides, and then we'll call it a day. let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with the Pious. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.